It's the Fair Fight Initiative. We're here with Executive Director David Utter, and we're breaking down brick by brick the broken pieces of the criminal injustice system, how it impacts people, and why Fair Fight is here to fight for systemic change at every level of this broken system. And for this segment, we're talking about jail, which of course is where you will sit, innocent until proven guilty, if you cannot pay your cash bond or if you are not granted a bond. David, describe for people who may never have been set foot in jail or understand the difference between jail and prison, what people are really facing around this country.
So jail is where you go when you've been arrested and you haven't yet been convicted. Your case is still pending because of systems that we've discussed, mainly cash bond, and then the discretion the police have to arrest people. It's often the means by which we push people into taking a bad plea bargain, a bad deal, and it's also where we push people into some serious trauma. Most jails in America are almost intentionally punitive, right? I mean, we've heard the horror stories, and they should all horrify us. Rikers Island, the most notorious jail in the country, perhaps, in New York City. The East Baton Rouge Parish Prison, not a prison, it's a jail. 99% of the people there are pretrial. They haven't been convicted of anything. Just notoriously dangerous, one of the highest death rates in the country. But there are many, many more, right? I mean, there's almost an intentionality to create a condition in a jail, create conditions of confinement where people are so distressed, where people are so uncomfortable that they are willing to do something that we wouldn't normally do, that is accept a plea bargain and admit to something, say you did something when you didn't do it. It's no way to run the system. It's the way the United States runs its criminal justice system. And not enough people know just how horrible conditions are in many, many jails across the country.
And there's every incentive there for prosecutors, for sheriffs, for the system at large to make these conditions as deplorable as allowable. Whether it's, people would joke about the food, but we're talking about the denial of health care. We're talking about the single largest facility that is handling mental health in our country at this point is the jail. We're talking about the way people are profiteering off of commissaries and other phone calls, video conferencing. There's a money-making opportunity for private interests, and there is a sort of destructive opportunity for the people in power to make this as unbearable as possible.
Absolutely. It's also a political winner for a lot of sheriffs, right? I mean, how many people get elected on a campaign promise to treat people humanely in their jail? There's also many, many sheriffs around the country take political contributions from people with explicit economic reasons to have them be elected sheriff, right? You have phone companies that make donations to the sheriff so that they can get the bid to provide the phones for people in jail that charge exorbitant rates just to call your family. There's healthcare providers, private healthcare providers that make contributions to sheriffs so they get the contract to provide deadly healthcare to people in the jail. It's a preferred system. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people on every single day are locked up in these places, and the trauma it causes is immeasurable.
People dying in jail is what brought me to the Fair Fight Initiative. And it is sort of the origin story for how our organization got started. But one might think when someone dies in a jail that plaintiffs' attorneys would be lining up thinking that they could score a big payday by suing on behalf of the estate of the person who died in jail. But that is simply not the case, right?
No, it's you hear of these big verdict awards or these big settlements. Sandra Bland in Texas, millions and millions of dollars. There are far more people that die in jails that the amount of money eventually won by the family is minuscule, especially compared to the pain and suffering that that family has gone through. Fair Fight started because of the death of Lamar Johnson in the Baton Rouge jail. It started because one incredibly strong mother, Linda Franks, stood up and said, this is crazy. This is insane. My son died in a jail that I didn't even know was this deadly. And he died literally crying, for his family, for his mother. And that case led to the start of Fair Fight Initiative, and Linda's power, Linda's strength, powers us all.
You can read the story of Linda Franks and Lamar Johnson here on fairfightinitiative.org and understand how, until authorities are facing litigation, every time the deplorable conditions that they create to try to deter people from fighting for their innocence comes to be in this country. And without litigation and without us showing up every time a person dies in jail, there is little hope for systemic change. Keep reading through Our Broken System. We will take you brick by brick and see how jails, in this case, feed into other components.